All right, welcome to our board meeting. Appreciate everybody coming today. Mr. Doolin promised me that since he's filled all the seats out that they would fill up, and I don't know who else you invited, Mr. Doolin, but they didn't show up, so you better write their names down.
I'll get it. They didn't get the memo, I guess.
Just trying to, like we started last month, try to remember some of our goals that we have for the school year this year, and recognizing our mission, vision, and values on the back wall. Mr. Doolin and I are, and probably he's going to incorporate some of your talents in figuring out how we can bring this into our meetings a little smoothly, a little smoothly.
More smoothly, yes, sir.
More smoothly. I didn't go to school in Reader, sorry, Ms. Gonzalez. But please remember who we are and what we stand for. It's we really do want to promote high-achieving students and responsible citizens in those that we're teaching, and that's why we're here, is to be a high-achieving school and turn out good kids and honorable, respectful kids. Mr. Doolin, why don't we just go ahead and start with your report?
All right, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We all know that 22 years ago, our country was attacked by terrorists. Close to 3,000 people lost their lives after 4 planes were hijacked. And I just want to state tonight that we must never forget. And if you'll join me in a moment of silence, I think that'd be pretty good. All right, thank you. All right, now, Mr. Brush, Mr. Chairman, you'll see that have a few more guests tonight. It's all of our directors or supervisors that lead one of our entities within our district. So I've asked them to state their name, as well as any personnel they may have underneath them, and maybe 2 or 3 minutes of or 2 or 3 bullets of what they do on a daily basis. Most of you know Mr. Davies, but Mr. Davies, please.
Yeah. Well, just so you guys know, I do have a new title this year, and I believe the correct title is Director of Federal Programs and District Operations, okay? So it's about this long now instead of just principal, okay? But with that, there's lots and lots of different things that I'm going to be working with Mr. Doolin on this year, and with Angie as well, here in the office at the district office. And right now under the federal programs, I have Rosario Ixta and Jessica Mosley that I'm working very closely with. In our migrant program and our EL program, and then also with our homeless students and the McKinney-Vento students in the district. That kind of falls under that umbrella of the federal programs. And then when it comes to district operations, have been working a little bit with May over in transportation, want to help do that. Also have food services that I work with. Misty Muscofian is our new director, and I'm going to help a little bit with that. Been helping Mr. Doolin with some of our maintenance with Michael Thatcher and Eric, so it's you guys all know this is a brand new position that we started this year. I've really enjoyed learning all of the things that are related to all the programs that I'm going to be helping with, and really look forward to having a good year this year. So. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me. I'd be happy to answer them if I can, because I am learning an awful lot every week, and taking part in a lot of trainings and those kinds of things. Just learning the new job. But it's been really invigorating for me professionally, and I've enjoyed my time here at the district office. So,
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Yep.
As you know, I'm Angie Halverson. I'm the Special Education Director here for the Weiser School District. As I maybe mentioned last time, I'm just special education this year. That's a big just. But my responsibility is to help support all of our building administrators and working with our special education teachers to make sure that all of our students who receive additional supports and services under the IDEA, which is the educational side of kind of the Americans with Disabilities Act, receive free appropriate education. They receive as much access as possible with their same age peers as we can to provide the LRE, or the least restrictive environment. There's a ton of like acronyms and abbreviations and all those things in education, and even more so in SPED. But then also to make sure that we're fiscally responsible in the way that we're providing our supports. So that is what I do. I'm also kind of the keep us out of jail person. That is also the job that I've been charged with. Special education just comes with a lot of compliance, and so I'm a little bit of a compliance officer in that regard, in that I'm looking at policy quite often. I'm asking questions about policy and how that impacts our students, because my role is not only to think about the kids who are already identified as having a disability and receiving special education, but also thinking about kids who are not yet identified. So that's, I think, probably sums it up there. Any questions that you might have for me?
Thank you.
Stand by the podium. I am Sean Thompson. I'm the Director of IT for the whole school district. I'm here to support the teachers and all the staff and the students on any kind of technology needs, wants, desires, and try to get things accomplished so we can meet our mission statement and our goals for the school district. Because I believe technology is like the forefront to us succeeding in that department. So, any questions for me? Perfect.
Thank you.
I am Marcy Hooper. I took over the grounds supervisor position. I currently have one staff under me. Her name is Lori Hale, and she's amazing. I have been here 3 weeks. Her and her sister Deb worked for 4 weeks with just the two of them, and they've done a wonderful job. Unfortunately, because I am brand new, Deb is also gone, and she's the only person that knew the water, so I ask for a lot of patience because I'm trying to get there, and I'm working long hours, 7 days a week. I'm trying to keep all my maintenance up and going, and I appreciate all feedback that I can get, because this is actually 40 acres is a lot of property to take care of for just two of us. So all feedback, any concerns, please let me know, because I'm open to anything we need.
Awesome. Thank you.
Is Deb coming back?
I don't think so.
I'm May West. I'm the transportation supervisor. We currently have 11 routes. I started training the driver today on bus 1, and hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll have another driver ready to go so we can unsplit a route that we had to split back in April. And that's about it. Any questions?
Thank you.
I'm Michael Thatcher. I'm the maintenance supervisor. I've got my assistant Eric Pfeiffer, who's been a great asset that we were lucky to get, very lucky to get him and his wife in the kitchens also. We just keep plugging away at projects, trying to take care of the things that cropped up as they cropped up, and then work our way through the backlog. And that's pretty much about all we can do. So if something comes up, we'd like to hear about it so we can try to get on it and get it taken care of as soon as possible, and we'll just keep going away, and anything we can do to help the lawns or any other department, we do, and that's kind of about it. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, so my name's Rachel Thatcher. I'm the Assistant Food Service Director. Free and reduced applications this year. I've processed about 320 so far. Last year we did over 500, so haven't had people turning them in. So we have families with large balances still, and a lot of those families are the ones that haven't turned in an application. We received at the end of August $1,500 in donations to help pay for negative accounts. And then we also get a monthly donation from Elsa Snell for $100 for negative accounts. And then Misty, the director, applied for a grant from Dairy West for 3 smoothie carts. And she should hear in October. Hear from them in October. If we get them or not, there'll be 3 of them. Then there's the fresh fruit and vegetable program. At the end of last year, we applied for a grant that we do every year, and we received funds. And basically what it does is introduce kids to new and interesting fruits and vegetables, so they get to have it as a snack. And I brought those for everyone to look at. It was going to be for the high school, middle school, and possibly park school. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Thanks for being willing to fill in.
All right, everybody can leave except, thank you, Rick. Directors can leave except for Dave and Angie, sorry, if you guys want to. Thanks, thank you. Mr. Brush wanted to keep here longer, but I talked him out of it. Okay, sorry. Okay, if you turn your direction, your eyes towards the screen, please. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You gave me the opportunity to share a little bit about, you heard from the folks that do it every day. They do it well, and tonight I'm going to show you a little bit about what we've done the past 3 or 4 months, which ties into our plant facility money, which ties into our projects, and without further ado, let's go. So Pioneer School. Pioneer School is where it all started for us this year in reference to Fred Ruiz and his folks doing a little work on their pavement. So you'll see here, they came in and he redid all of that, and then he gave us some new parking areas with new handicap, and then handicap access things, and then down here some more parking areas. So Pioneer got really treated well this year with parking. Park School, again, kind of a different looking picture, but he didn't, what's the correct word for the covering?
Just the reseal.
He didn't reseal this because it would have cost us more money to reseal it than the parking lot's worth, he said. So he went in and just did, you'll see the yellow lines. So there are all new parking spots up there for the folks that park it right there. And then here's part of the new HVAC system that went in the cafeteria. And you know that they never had AC before in the cafeteria, but now you have AC. It's pretty nice, yes, ma'am. Nice. And here's some new carpet that we put in, that they put in for the counselor and the new counselor in the area. So Park felt a little love as well.
And all new paint too, sir. All
Sorry.
new paint throughout the whole school.
Oh, yes, it was Park's year to get the in-depth painting, and they took care of that as well. So they did a great job. Middle school, new HVAC above the auto shop, new shades in room 2. We found out we needed new shades when we went to a lockdown drill. Not a good time to find out you need new shades, but so we got new shades. New carpet down in the 6th grade wing. He needed it really bad, but there's the floor that will outlast the school. That's that new tile floor in the foyer. And this tile floor goes through the whole foyer, depends on what side of the tracks you're from, and it also goes into the restrooms. So what we did though is kept some history though. We kept the original wood in that little room where they store their food when they do basketball games. So there's a piece of the original wood still in that little closet area. So we kept that. So there's the middle school. High school Fred really did a good job again on the parking. So you see it there. He also did it here. And he also took care of our band students, and Mr. Fortin, with resembling the football field, minus the numbers, but the numbers are coming. Once he gets the numbers in, he'll be done with that area so they can practice. They have been practicing to simulate or to emulate being on the football field. And then here's some new carpet as well. I think we had 6 rooms to get new carpet this year in the district, and every year we try to get a little more carpet throughout the district. A little bit about around the district, and I'll tell you, I can't sing the guys that just spoke I can't sing their praises enough because they have saved us so much money. Perfect example, they did all the demo in the foyer at the middle school, saved us about $5,000. And then the company came in and did their work. They also went in last week over at Park, and Eric and Michael went through this little hole, and they climbed down underneath the kitchen, and they replaced pipe down there that had gray water leak. You might have saw my email that went out, I heard about my email that went out, where there was gray water. Didn't smell too well for a while, but I understand that's taken care of. And again, they saved us probably a couple $1,000 in them doing it themselves. So again, I can't sing their praises enough. That middle picture is the girls' restroom or men's restroom of the high school, which they went in and redid. They redid both of them, and so that's what they both look like. This picture here it's a panel that the middle school has needed for quite some time now in order to run the boiler the correct way. So if you've been to a basketball game in the wintertime, you know it's hot in there. But this panel here will help control the boiler automatically, and it'll also, if something goes down, it will shoot a code to the maintenance guys to come fix it. Am I telling the truth, Mr. Cardinals? All right, all right, all right. All right, I'd be remiss if I didn't speak a little bit about, she alluded to it, the good job that the lawns folks have been doing. You know, Daniel started it, and Daniel left us, and then Marcy came along, and they've had a couple people, three at a time sometimes. But it's just, I've been told by senior people that have been here, see, I didn't use the word old people, senior people that have been here for a long time, that this is the best they've ever seen the lawns look in Weiser School District. So with that said, that's all I have right now in reference to some of the things that we've been doing. Now, obviously, I couldn't put it all up there because I talk all night about what our folks are doing, Mr. Brush. But just a few things. And again, the money that paid for those was thankful to the patrons. That's part of the levy money for plants and facilities money. So, any questions for me? All right. Very good. Thank you. Now with the transition, if we could, I think you saw the board reports from the admin. If there's any questions, that's why they're here tonight, and feel free while I turn this off.
I have a question. It was for the Pioneer School, the Healing Day. Can I get more information on that?
Well, that's the Healing Children professional development that the district is having all schools do.
Okay.
So ours was Friday. So we had the all-district one in August with the entire school district, the whole kabang. And then each school gets a day's worth of PD at their individual building. So our first half day was last Friday. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone else? Questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. I've invited Mr. Church to say a few words. He didn't get the opportunity to give a report because, you know, he's here, lead teacher at Indian Head. So, Mr. Church.
Stand for this whole podium. Pleased to be invited and included in this. Being in the all school, we're kind of out there in left field, and sometimes I feel like that, but it's always feels good to be included in some things. So I'll make this brief because I know everyone's got a lot of things to do and other places they'd rather be. But we've got 18 students in our all-school enrollment right now, and currently, not to put too much pressure on her, we're open. One of them is going to be graduating here come October 9th. So fingers crossed that she gets that stuff done. A little bit of news on our end. I have been working on getting some CTE certificate programs started, not just for my students, but also for any of our Weiser school district students. We're working on Serve Safe, which is a food handling certificate. We've talked to some kids about getting a certificate in traffic control, like a flagger certificate. I've also been talking to a couple of folks over here at the Forest Service about maybe seeing if we can set up some initial firefighting training. I am understanding that they have been shorthanded this last summer, and hopefully we can use some of our kids to fill that void and provide some opportunities for some jobs. So that's what we're working on. So, any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Let's move into our consent agenda. Everybody have an opportunity to read the minutes from our last, actually 2 meetings, our special board meeting and our board meeting. Anybody have any questions or see a need for any changes in those 2 agendas or notes? Our current agenda is there any changes to it that we need to talk about before we get too far into it?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's just move right into staff, any retirements or resignations,
No, sir.
notices. So far, I'm liking this.
So are they.
Let's slow down just a little bit and tell me you've got somebody that we need to hire.
I'd be lying to you if I told you yes.
I didn't want to zip by that one quite so fast. How about our financial report?
Our financial report is looking pretty good, sorry about that. I was typing. We are at 24.75, and, which is right on, because it's 8.33, so this is the end of August, so we're at 3 months, or 2 months, I'm sorry, 16 months. So there are some that are a little higher. Why is this looking so funky? Oh my gosh, I printed the wrong thing. You guys, I am so sorry. We don't have that transfer to other funds. Thank you, I am so sorry. That is not right. The expenditures are right. The general fund is right. We do have about 44.17% of our income from the State Department. They give us about 50% in August, and then we get smaller amounts throughout the year. They front load us that, and then the elementary and the secondary are right on as far as where we need to be. The alternative school, that WHS alternative school, that is July and August expenditures, and there will not be any other expenditures for this year. So that is right at where we budgeted, about 105. So it's a little over, but that was right where they wanted to be. The reason why this is so weird is because of that, the building and equipment. I must not have finished, it must not have saved it. Boy, I didn't look at it very well, but prior to all of that, when we got down to books and periodicals, everything is correct. But below that, I'm not gonna give you all that. That's kind of nuts. So the building and equipment is incorrect, and so is grounds and lawns, and so is our transfers. So the ending fund balances are correct. We do have in that investment pool quite a bit of money right now, but that will get down as we go through our budgets. The special services, there are some that I'm taking out, some that I have added. I know that I talked to you about adding the 435. I can't speak to this. This got, Mr. Thompson, where'd you go? This report looks so weird. Because that my 435 was in there last month, and it doesn't look like it's in there this month. I apologize. I will send this all out to you again tomorrow. It'll look better.
I'm
Totally wrong. Happens.
just can't believe that we're over 20% into the year, but it does start in July. But when I hear that, I'm like, well, we just started.
19 days till the end of the quarter.
I know. It just doesn't.
19.
Someone's counting.
And then the holidays are here. And
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for?
Yeah, you can have lots of questions. You'll have a better one tomorrow, I promise you.
Any- okay. We'll we'll probably have more discussion then. Let's see. How did any questions on the bills as you were looking through them, or Melanie?
You did get your August and you did get your September. So you should have had 2 PDFs in there because
Did see that.
she did not have that ready. And so, again, she apologized, but she has them both for this month.
I didn't see anything that stood out to me. Anybody? Questions? Let's see into our consent agenda.
I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the consent agenda as written, and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries. We have one request for community input. Ms. Meek, will you please give us your 2 cents?
I'll give you 10 cents a little bit. That's awesome. All right. So I got to introduce myself because there are some new people here. So I'm Nicole Mink, and I represent, and I come to you tonight speaking for the Weiser Education Association, and kind of giving you our, we had a meeting last week and just kind of give you some highlights of some things that we wanted to share with the board. First one was overwhelmingly, people were so excited to see Mr. Doolin out and about, even back to school night, first day of school, and every day since. I think we've seen him not here, but out in our buildings and around, doing lunch duty at Park School, it looked like too one day. So we very much appreciated that and noticed that. The AEC in our building, oh my gosh, Pioneer Parks, yes, woo! So, and I could go over and do it on my own. And so that was very thankful for that. And along those lines, we all did also talk about how the lawns look amazing. And so do our buildings again. So the grounds crew and the maintenance crew that take care of all that all summer long and prepare for us to come back, we wanted to put kudos out to them, to thank them for their work during the summer. Then the high school, people at the high school were very excited, and just about the new leadership at high school. Lots of energy and lots of just people happy, which they just felt like they were excited. And then the one last thing I'll leave you with is that many of us felt that it has been a very rough start to the school year. Very rough start to the school year. Many new things came down that we had to learn how to do, and no time to learn how to do them. So it's just been a really rough start to the school year. But we are thankful for our AC and our beautiful lawns, and we're going to get after it anyway. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, Weiser High School ASB officers, and not real good with last names, but I got first names. So we're just going to go with Kiana and Edith are here to give a synopsis on homecoming. So ladies, if you'd like to.
Okay, well, hello everybody. My name is Kiana Olvera. I'm the ASB president up at Weiser High School, if you don't already know that.
I'm Edith Belgadian, I'm the ASB secretary.
We're here to give you a little bit of background on how our homecoming is going to look this year. We have one more partner. His name is Jaden Walker. He's the ASB vice president, but he's currently at football practice getting ready to win the football game this Friday against Coal Valley, or in homecoming talk, we like to call it Tame the Chargers, which is our fun little slogan that we have for our homecoming this year. So we actually already started homecoming today. If you didn't know, we have a dress-up day every single day. Today was color wheel, and we made it a patriotic version where freshmen wore red, sophomores wore white, juniors wore blue, seniors wore black, and then the staff wore red, white, and blue. Every day this week we're going to be on a 4th-hour assembly schedule, so we get released for lunch a little bit early, and we use that time to meet together in the cafeteria and have a pep assembly where the band is playing. The band walks through the hallways playing music and all that fun stuff, and then we meet in the cafeteria and have an assembly. Today we came up with an activity called Are You Smarter Than a Freshman? So what we did with that is we made a Kahoot with questions just all around the board. There were English questions, science, math, art, band, and just some random movie questions in there. But it was with a twist. It wasn't just a normal trivia. Each contestant had to complete some type of activity before they were able to actually answer the questions. So, for example, you had to go run and spin around a baseball bat 5 times before you could sit down and answer a question, or run a lap around the gym, do 10 push-ups, just all that stuff. So that was pretty fun. Tomorrow we're really excited.
Tomorrow our dress-up day is Gone Fishing or Gone Surfing. Our activity for that day is going to be tug-of-war, which is super competitive at our school. We have the seniors compete against the freshmen, the juniors compete against the sophomores, and whoever wins between those 2 classes competes for the overall win at the end. And our senior class is so competitive with that. We've won the last few years. And we also have activities after school to bring in homecoming. And we're going to have hall decorating, which we just came from today. And we will continue that tomorrow and the rest of the week until Thursday. And then we will have our lip sync practices for our annual lip sync, which is happening on Wednesday.
Yeah, so Wednesday, the theme is game day, which can be interpreted in many different ways. We said you can dress as your favorite player, you can dress as a referee, crazy fan. Some people are dressing up as an inflatable football. So there's just many ways that it can go, and we're super excited for that. Wednesday, we are doing our annual lip sync, which he told you a little bit about. A week prior to homecoming, we meet with all the class officers and give them a theme for what their lip sync is going to consist of. So this year it was travel through time. So you can either start with a decade, or some people are going to take it starting as like the life of a high schooler and all that fun stuff. And the way that's judged is based off of, does your music fit the theme? Is your class involved? All that stuff. And that's going to happen on Wednesday, which we're so excited for. We've been doing a bunch of practices. It's also very competitive. People go do a lot of stuff for lip sync, and we're excited. Thursday is a bit of an odd school day, which Edith will tell you more about.
So on Thursday, we don't have any classes at all. We start off in our first hour, our teachers take attendance, and then from there we take all our decorations from our hallways, put them on our floats, which are going to be throughout the parade, and then after we're done decorating our floats, we're having our coronation ceremony, which we will determine who the king and queen is, and then after that we will have our lunch. And then once lunch is over, we come back and start the parade, which is at 1. And then once the parade is over, we meet at the football field for our annual powder puff game, which is the girls, which are the seniors and the freshmen, play against the juniors and the sophomores, and for 2 quarters of a game, and you determine who wins. And after that, our school day is pretty much over.
Yeah. So Thursday is the powder puff game, but Friday is the actual homecoming game itself. We're playing Coal Valley at 7 o'clock. The theme for the student section that day, we've never done this before, but it's like a red and white theme, but it's you wear red when we're on defense, and then you switch to your white t-shirt once you're on offense. So like your shirts are layered, and then it should just be back and forth and super chaotic. And we're so excited for that. After the football game, we're having a street dance, which is going to be, I think, by the pool, like that street over there. We're getting chaperones. I know Cody Sampson is going to be the officer that's like chaperoning that. And then we have games. We're getting a bunch of pizzas from Rizzoni's, and then we're going to have music and all that fun stuff. So we mentioned all the hall decorating and the lip sync and dress-up days. So all of those participation points, it's really for one thing, and it's an overall race for Wally, which is our mascot. It's basically just a Wolverine head on a stick that each class just fights for, and the juniors and seniors get really competitive with it, so it's super neck and neck. So that's why everyone tries to get their class to participate as much as possible, because overall, homecoming is it's the race for Wally. It's for being involved in your school, getting out there and involving yourself and all that stuff. But yeah, we're super excited for this week, and we were happy to tell you all about it. So I think that's what we have.
Any questions from anyone?
I have a question.
Yes.
What time is the lip sync battle on Wednesday?
That is going to be, it starts around, the assembly will start around 11:50, and it'll go until about 12:30-ish. Yep. Yeah, those are fun to watch too, so if you want to watch those.
Some are fun.
Sure, I'll stay straight.
Good to that one.
They use copyright material.
So I think actually it's our class. We got the most participation in dress-up days, and then we were also the loudest with Coach Harrison's cheer during the assembly.
Were you
However,
smarter
the
than a
juniors,
freshman?
Unfortunately. The juniors did beat us, the juniors and sophomores beat us in that game.
The freshmen
But you
didn't beat
guys were smarter
themselves.
than that.
Yes, we
That's
There you go.
To be fair, we're smarter than the freshmen. Anything else? Comments, questions, points of clarification?
I don't have any questions, but I appreciate you coming and reporting that to us. And just to give you a heads up, I look forward to many different reports throughout the year.
You guys did great, thank you.
Thank you.
You guys are pretty
I don't know about you, I was kind of scared when I heard a high school student say, "We never done this before."
Everybody hold your ears.
I know.
It was all Mr. Clark's.
Good job.
About the interview.
I think we all have a senior, everybody here has a senior. No? Junior. One of them had one, sorry, the seniors probably have it this year. If we have to vote, be part of that.
That's right, if it's a tie.
Just flip a coin.
Yeah.
There are no coins needed, there's four of us and one of them.
Competition, wow.
I'm feeling good today, Mr. Doolittle. Appreciate that recognition again, and they're gone, but it's great to hear from our youth, from the students, and to come and do that report. I enjoyed that, so I look forward to you bringing them back in for different things and getting them more involved in this meeting as well. Well, I think we can move on to our action items then, Mr. Doolin, unless you have something else to.
No, sir.
So for those of you that didn't know, I would have taken that. We had a special meeting 2 weeks ago to talk about policies, and we thought, I'm going to be honest, I thought, well, we'll take an hour at 9 o'clock in the morning and go over policies. And when we rolled out of here at noon, we went through a lot of policies, but we got all of the 4,000s out of the way, and we're going to do that every month. So in 2 weeks as a board, we're going to meet together again and go over another set of policies to get our policy manual up to date, so all of you and us and anybody has an opportunity to have updated policies. I look forward to them being done. It was good. So the policies in the 4,000s, there were, did you count those? How many were there that we went through? There was a lot. So we're going to consider those our first reading. Anybody have any questions? I know there was one or two that we talked about that we put.
You asked for edits, but they got put in there.
Okay. Anybody have any questions before we just go ahead and consider those our first reading? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
No motion.
No motion for
No
that?
motion, just a
Action?
first reading,
Oh,
and
first
then
reading
we'll
is
do the
not.
second,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, thank you, Tyler, for that. Second item on the agenda in action items is the MTE Wi-Fi Possibilities.
Yes, sir, if I could, Mr. Bush, thank you. And Bo's here to speak on it if I work something out, but he was approached down at the field, a football field by MTE, and they had mentioned to him that they were interested in offering us free Wi-Fi. Well, after he heard of what that meant, it just simply means that free Wi-Fi there at the football field and at the baseball diamond, and future maybe at the tennis courts. So if you ask yourself, wow, what do you want? You know, what do you want for it? Well, the only thing they want is when you go to sign on, it just says MTE sponsors free Wi-Fi for Weiser School District. And then you put your email in, you put a phone number in, whatever that piece is, we don't know that quite yet, and then you're on. The beauty is, we can turn it on, and we can turn it off an hour after the game. So it's locked in for a certain time period. So there's that piece, and then what it may allude to in the future is, and you can speak to this better than I can, probably, Mr. Erickson, is that, and Mr. Davies, that program, what's it called?
The Pixel Lock cameras that they put out there, so that it's over the the National Federation, network, so people that are not at Weiser can view all the contests.
Maybe a year or 2 or 3 down the road, but that may be where, and then we'd be right on line with everybody else. But free Wi-Fi during ball games, that'd be a pretty good thing. Anything else you want to add?
They'll give us a channel that'll be locked for the visiting team and a channel locked for the home team to use if they need sideline cameras or whatever they'd like to use. And they told us that there's so many options that we have control over if we want to do that. So, for example, our school district north of us, Tri-Valley, they use their own streaming service. And so they have somebody actually streams for them. You click on it during the game and bam, it's right there. Somebody's holding your camera. So all this is an option for us. Equipment, they would put it up on the crow's nest, if you're familiar with it. Up on the crow's nest, they could put a receiver about half the size of a basketball cut. It's got it aimed at Chicken Hill. And then they'll have a receiver to the backside aimed for the tennis courts, one aimed to the baseball field. And when I met with them last week, they just wanted to do it. And I'm like, oh, hold on here. I got to call my bosses, right? And so they were very excited. They really wanted to try it. And so they can't wait to do that. They would like to work out the bugs, though, because they definitely think that they have a shot to do the same thing at the softball and the soccer complex as well. But they need a straight shot to another repeater they have somewhere around there, and I don't know that specifics. I talked to Mr. Thompson, and he loved the idea. We have an actual, I can't think of it, we actually have a setup down there for our scoreboard, a Wi-Fi setup for our scoreboard that your service now uses, that's set up for us, and Sean kind of watches over. But that's for our scoreboard, for Wi-Fi through our scoreboard.
And it wouldn't interfere, according to Sean, it wouldn't interfere with what they would like to do for us.
Yeah, but they're pretty excited, so.
Awesome. Sounds like a pretty good thing when they say free and you want to read between the lines,
Yes, sir.
that is. If it's just advertising for the company that's doing a service for us, that's a pretty good deal.
I've asked them a couple times since then about, are you sure it's free? Like, there's always. So that's what they add. So if you're familiar with staying at a hotel on free Wi-Fi, it pops up and you got to put a number or email. And of course, that's on the person that's going to use it. They don't verify the email, they don't verify the phone number, but I think that's a requirement on their side. Every time they offer a free Wi-Fi, somebody's got to log on to it somehow, some way, so they keep track of that. So.
Now, is that gonna, so currently, our football team, I know you guys are doing some different stuff with cameras and reviewing iPads and stuff like that. Is it gonna be helpful for that at all, or?
Yes, it can be. It depends if we want to expand that. Right now, we're on the sideline where we just have a direct shot, so we're wireless, so we can actually see the last play that they had. We can look at the iPad, and that's tremendous. We're working on a system. We go in the end zone. But the problem is it's not a problem, we'd use the end zone where the cannon goes off, because the other end zone, we don't want to interfere with anybody's vision. So yes, it can help us. It can help us a lot.
Okay. So it's not only going to be helpful for the fans, but also for the team as well.
Yes. And I got to be honest with you, I do like the idea we control it. We shut it down, we can open it back up.
Recommendation is.
I make a motion that we move forward with having MTE on the free Wi-Fi.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion to accept MTE's Wi-Fi offerings, and then seconded. All those in favor? Aye. All right, it was unanimous.
No transfer.
All right, every year we have a district travel expenses and things that we need to talk about. So can we get some more information on the high school travel request?
Yes, sir. You stated it correctly. A lot of travel during the year, and in September is when you approved that travel for the whole year. And in your packet was 3 pages of travel, and Mr. Clark is here to speak on that.
So the spreadsheet that's here, I think it's the same that you guys have in your packet, is my job was to send it out to staff, and it's a document that we reuse every year that has, it's hard to know what the exact dates and times and things for events, but they're pretty standard in terms of they do these things every year if they qualify. So that was the process I was involved in, was circulating this and having people fill it out. And kind of double checking. There are some people that didn't quite update every date, so it's kind of I would say it's kind of a living document. It's not a done deal, but my instructions to them were put the things that you know that you normally do every single year, so the district has an idea of what they can plan for moving forward. Is there anything else I can give specifics? I mean, obviously, certain groups do a lot more than other groups, FFA being one of those. Looks like the band is on there quite a bit as well.
Well, I know years past, and then this year, starting off as well, buses have become an issue already. So there's a lot of bus requests on here. Do we feel like we're getting to, do we feel like we're getting to a good place, or is there still, do we need something else?
Are we getting better? Yes. Do we need some more help? Yes. And as May stated, ideally, like my Friday update recommended, we got to get May in the office. We got to get her in there doing what she's supposed to be doing. So she's training somebody this week on bus 1, which May drives, as you know. And so we're getting there. We just hired, Mr. Estes to drive our sports, one of our sports vehicles, buses. And so we're getting there, and there's other feelers out there too. So we're better off right now than we were. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
And we have some people that have signed on as bus drivers just for activities, which is kind of
Okay.
nice, Of course, they, but hey, a bus driver, always a bus driver. So maybe after the activities are done, they'll still bus drive. And I don't think that they've ever not had an activity or a request. They've always tried to fill them. So sometimes, I remember they had like a middle school volleyball go early so that the bus driver could get back so they could make their route. And I know that's a pain, but it's what we're doing right now to get things going. But we've never denied the kids their activities or their groups or group things. So that's kind of nice.
Seems like it happens in the spring way more often. I know we do that with the tennis team quite often. Maybe take them and drop them off so we can come back and get there.
Which is kind of a, kudos to that bus driver.
Do you have any idea comparatively how many requests there are this year as compared to prior years? As far as my understanding, it's pretty much the same. Yeah, it's more of changing dates on that document than necessarily adding new things. Probably Melissa Reed's the only one that asked me the most questions about it being new to that position at the high school. And she's already used the bus this year to go down to Resignation and as part of her business classes as well. So pretty much the same as far as I understand it.
I'll make a motion that we accept the consideration of the high school travel requests for the 23-24 school year.
Excuse me, I'll second that. Thank you. There's been a motion to accept the fiscal year 24 school travel, and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. until I do that. Safety busing zones for our school district.
Oh, yes, sir, sorry. She was just talking about your shirt not being red. I said, it's okay.
She didn't say a word, it was you.
It's patriotic. It's cool.
Mr. Brush, just like the last item, in September, the board always approves, or board's asked to approve the safety and zoning for our bus drivers' routes, and that's just what this is. May took off, she got out of here early. I should have thought about that farther ago. But again, I think it's the same thing last year, right, Ms. Kyla? Dave, same thing as last year, so it's just, it's the safety and zoning of the bus routes.
It's my understanding that we have to have these approved because the people to school, if you are within such a distance that you could walk to school, then you have to walk. But because we have State Street, or they have to walk across the highway there, by having these approved, then we're able to get full reimbursement for our routes, even though the kids that are riding them sometimes are close enough to walk.
I remember that now,
Yeah.
with that explanation, we
Yes.
talked about it
Yes.
this year. so-
And
Yeah.
is that right?
And
I
sidewalks,
said that,
too.
okay.
Sidewalks.
What's that?
Sidewalks have
Oh,
to-
yeah, sidewalks
Some of our
are
streets
an
don't
issue
have
too.
sidewalks for the kids to walk on, so
Yes.
those play into it as well.
And it
So
sounds
it's
like
just that safety.
2 routes are combined right now or something.
They are, because we're still short of drivers, so that makes a longer route than normal. But again, she's training someone, so we could maybe split that. That would be really nice. It does make for a crowded bus.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. I will entertain a motion for safety busing zones.
I'll make a motion. Consideration of safety busing zones for the school district.
And motion made to accept these considerations for safety busing, and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, Mr. Doolin, consideration for a new district office position.
Yes, sir. I'll tee it up, and then I'll let Kyla speak on it. And if you don't have, I made copies if you need a copy of this, that would be in your packet, but, okay, there it is right there. So, and I think tonight probably was a pretty example of what transpired in reference to the many jobs, and I know we talked about this for 3 years that I've been here, the many jobs that Kyla does. And I think it was brought up last year about separating some things or doing some different things. So what she has provided in your packets and on your computers right now is on the left is what she does the whole page. She does the whole page right now. And what the proposal is to try to separate those, and with that.
Well, I will tell you, this was hard for me, because last year, I know I came and I talked with Jim, and I said, I just don't think I can do this. But then, as I'm working on Saturdays and sometimes Sundays, and definitely I worked on Labor Day, and the hours in the evenings have gotten a little long too. I thought, I'm gonna send up a flare. It's hard for me to say, and Doug would say I like to control the world, but I can't control this world. It's getting too much. It's hard because even I was just even doing calculations. This is my 196th board meeting, and I haven't missed any. So, and I'd like to keep on as district clerk. My goal is to sign Cash's, I shouldn't put this on there. So my goal is to sign Cash's diploma because he's my oldest grandson. And there are days, honestly, that I think, is he really gonna care? I should. So it's more grandma thinking she needs to do that. But that being said, I would like to stay on at least till 2025. I think that what I will tell you today, I was working with Dave, and we were talking about some of our federal programs, and just on the GRA side of it, which I know I'm going to throw out acronyms, and you're going to look at me like, what are you talking about? That's the grant reimbursement. So every federal grant or everything that we get is a reimbursement. So you spend the money, you ask them, and you have to verify and show why you spent it and how you spent it. So it's a little bit of a process. And I will tell you, I'm behind. I'm behind on that. And yes, we do have a lot of money in our LGIP from the SDE, but we need to be up on our grants. And I know that Dan was saying, hey, the audit looked good, all the books look good, everything looks good. I will tell you that there was 70 hours a week in that audit, getting that ready to go. I was spending a lot of time doing that and trying to get payroll and trying to do everything else. But now that we've got 17 new certified staff, and we seem to have probably 17 or better classified staff to onboard, and that includes all of the benefits and calculations that go with that. And you know, my first love is that I'm not going to have my payroll is going to be very accurate, because people aren't working because they love to just donate their time, although a lot of people seem to be doing it. But I feel like that's where I could do the most good right now. And if I had someone assisting me in the clerk position as a deputy clerk, and then help with the ESSER part of it and some of the budgeting, I'd still be in charge of the budgeting, because the clerk has to be in charge of the finance. But if I had that assistant, I think that it would really help out. And I looked around the office. That was one of my big concerns, was the logistics. But right now, we have a fairly big size office there in the food service, and I think we could put an additional office or a desk back there to accommodate this position. So that's why I'm bringing it up. How do you feel about it?
Well, just to mention, I mean, obviously, you know, we're growing. We have 140 new students to the district, and it seems like somebody's getting a new one almost every other day. That's not slowing down. We didn't hire some teachers that we had budgeted for. So I visited with her about salary, and she said we could work it in the salary with this new position we're discussing. But I mean, the houses that are being built, just the houses that are being built, 200 plus houses, right, are going to bring families, they're going to bring students. I mean, you know, we had to deny a couple or 3 open enrollments. You saw them a couple weeks ago for Payette. So schools want to, people want to come here, and I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon. So with that said.
I do have a question. As far as the split Kyla, help me understand a little better, is because it looks like there's a business management budgeting side, and then HR and clerk side. But is it more intertwined than that?
It would be more intertwined. I will tell you, this person's not going to be an island. This person would have to work pretty closely with me. I would say that, you know, I even thought about that. We could put 2 desks in my office, but it'd be pretty tight.
Yeah.
But yes, this is going to work pretty closely. I'd like to put it out there, at least to see if we get any applicants. I'm part of a Highway 95 business officials. I'm part of a state IASBO, Idaho School Business Officials organization. In that, I can see openings and people that are wanting to move, or when we're meeting as a Highway 95, I hear some of them say, well, I'm ready to make a move, or I'm in a small district, I'd like to make a little bit more money and work for a larger district. So I think there would be some applications that we would get from some of those. I know Weiser's, actually, I say this with a true passion, it's a premier place to work. It really is. We have a very nice school district. There's not a lot of unrest, and we have a pretty good working relationship with our WEA, and I will tell you, it's pretty premier, and when I get up and talk, and I will tell you, I'm probably one of the leads on the Highway 95. Cambridge, my one lady up there calls me the OG. So I do know what I'm doing as far as district clerk. I know what I'm doing as far as budgeting. I would be glad to help someone, but I'm hoping that we may get some applications from people that are already in the business.
And would the thought be that they would, do we think that those two positions are gonna, outlive, anyone else? Is that like a permanent change we're looking at?
I would like to do it as a permanent change. I'm looking at and talking with Dan the other day, when I was up and did the audit for Midvale, he mentioned, he said, you've got a lot on your plate. He said most school districts your size have 4 people in the office. We've got 2. I realize we've got Melissa in IC and in the student information system, but that's kind of a unique set of work. But just in Riley's position, we're going to give some of Riley's duties to this person too. Riley needs some help. She's exploding in her job duties. And just like not getting the August to you, I think it would just help to have that extra help. Yes, I would see that as a permanent. Yes, this is just not me going away. This is just something that we probably need to expand on. And like Mr. Doohan said, it could only grow. There's a lot.
And so do you think we're focusing on people with like more of a clerk background or more of a business management?
I would say more business and the budgeting. Okay. Yeah. The clerk part, they would, Riley is not interested in the deputy clerk, and she's always said that. And if I had another deputy clerk, sometimes like I said, I've been here 196 times. If I happen to be sick, it would be nice to have a deputy clerk that can step in, and you have to, by law, have a deputy clerk. So you have a clerk by state statute, but you also need a deputy clerk in case that deputy district clerk cannot be there. You have to. So that is true. But giving her that, the contracts and the bid openings and
Whomever.
Yeah, whomever. The transportation report, that transportation report is it's $300,000 that we're asking for, and you have to itemize it out, and you have some that's at 85% reimbursement, some that it's 50% reimbursement. The mechanic is a separate item on its own, and that's due September 30th. And so here we are in the middle of September already, and I think Riley's going, I need some help. So I'm going to help with this transportation report, but that means I'm putting other stuff on the back burner so I can get this done with her. It's a lot. There's a lot to it. We do have an ESSER audit this spring. That's we're going to be uploading 16 or 17 different files over our records that we have to, and we have to verify all of that. That's going to be a project. Just working with Mr. Davies on the federal grants. We just were doing what's called the CFSGS. That's the Consolidated Federal Grant. He has to send in information to the state. I have to verify that we're actually on the same page. But we went over 6 or 7 different grants, and they're roughly $500,000 by the time we get done. So it's a lot of money and a lot of work, and you have to be pretty accurate, or they send it back.
Yes, they do.
They let you know that it's not right. It's a lot. This is a lot. Both of them are a lot. I'm just saying, when I started writing this down and Mr. Doohan came in, he goes, now, which part do you do? And I said, well, right now I'm doing the whole page. And he said, you do the whole page? And I said, yeah, and I probably haven't written down everything, so it's much.
From a budgeting standpoint, where are we getting these funds, or where are these funds to hire said new person?
Well, we talked about that. We talked about that, one of the things that we know is that we're growing, and we are paid on ADA. So right now, we're at 96% attendance, which is phenomenal, but it's the first few weeks of school, so I think it's always phenomenal. Wait till hunting season, it may drop to 40. But because of that, because of the growth in our students, 140 more students, that's going to be, that alone is probably 3 units, and a unit's $145,000. So that's quite a bit of money coming into us, plus we didn't hire all the people that we were going to hire. So if you're saying salaries, if we budgeted so much in salaries out of our general fund, we have some leeway in our salaries and benefits. And salaries and benefits are 85% of our budget. That's all there is to it. It's always been that way. It's our biggest bulk of that. So if we had some room in there, which we do, I think we'll be fine.
So enough room to cover this position?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Any other questions?
And if you don't want to, I mean, I understand if you guys want to take it and think about it, but I'd like to move on into some
Additional question, how many current positions do we have in the school district that are covered by funds outside of our budgets? For example, ESSER funds, how many current positions in our school district?
Right now, I haven't put in the new salaries yet, but I believe we budgeted 2 admin and 1 to 2 teachers, but we're not going, we didn't fill one of those teacher positions, so we would have the 3 admin out. But the only reason we have, it's kind of the only reason we moved number 1, we wanted to use the funds, the ESSER funds. But number 2, the 2 administration, we're over on what our SBA says we can for administrators. So we weren't going to get funded for them anyway. So a way to do that is to move them into ESSER, to use the ESSER funds, but it's not like we wouldn't have the money in general fund to use it. We use it in a different way.
We never get funded for the amount of administrators that we need to run the district.
And we never get funded for the full amount anyway. They only allow us 42,000 for administration salaries. So, yeah, it's not enough. And there's tricky things. It's, you take your administrators and you put their years of experience and their credits and their degrees that they've earned, and by doing that, you get an index. Well, you're going to move we moved 2 that had the lowest index numbers over to ESSER, because by leaving the others in there with the higher index, we get more money.
That makes sense. Now, if we move those 3 positions to the general fund, we still have room for this position after ESSER funds are used.
Yes, and that's a good question.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's really my biggest concern.
Yeah, no, and we are over on our teaching too, our teachers, on our instructional. We're over on that, so we moved some of the newest teachers, what I call the B0s, that was 0 experience. That's the ones we moved over there. Yeah. Because there isn't, yeah.
Like Mr. Wilson always said, it's a big shell game. It's trying to outsmart the state to give us the more money we can get.
Well, we want to max out. We want to max it, and so we are constantly looking at that. And that's another thing that's part of the budget. If we were really doing it, you would be monitoring that so closely. And that goes along with our IC to make sure that we have the people. One of the things that happens now, between now and September 30th, is I have to take every employee that we have and put their demographics and their contracts and the years of experience and their assignment, and that has to be uploaded in IC, which then goes up to the state. And it's a snapshot in time on September 30th. Well, if I missed someone, or if I got someone in there that should have had a master's and they were only listed as a bachelor's, then I only have till December 7th to catch that mistake in order to get that funding back up. And then if I miss the December 7th, then I have to do a written request. And I've done it before, but it's a big process. So I will tell you, it's best not to have mistakes. I'm telling you, that gets a little crazy right here.
So this split, and this is just, as I'm hearing and listening to this, I'm not opposed of having all the help that we want, that we need. Let me rephrase that, having the help that we need. But this is kind of a living split. There's probably going to be some give or takes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We're not going to say these are.
Yeah, well, let's just
okay.
say if you had somebody in here and their strength was something
okay.
else, I would say, yeah, I'll take that on, you take this on.
Okay.
And is the timeframe we're looking at just essentially as soon as possible?
I would like to do open till filled. I mean, if you got the right candidate to get an interview and hire, that would be nice.
Well, I entertain I make a motion to consider the new district office position.
I'll second
Be
that.
posted.
Okay. Motion to consider this new district office position been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, Kyla.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're gonna be happy.
You're going to be.
You're gonna be happy.
Well, Doug will be really happy. Not that you care. You might get dinner once in a while.
Well, that concludes our action items. So move into some discussion items. Did I miss something?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. The first one can be first or last, but we may as well just get it out. Anybody have any ideas that they would like to have on the agenda for a future discussion? I actually would like to have a discussion. I wish Mr. Monbreth or Mr. Bowe was here at this time too, but I have had quite a few people in our community in many of the different religions, family situations ask me why our school district is doing so much on Wednesday nights, when in the past, we've kind of allowed, in Weiser it's been tradition that, and I don't know other communities, but in Weiser it's been tradition that our religious affiliates, so religious groups could have the youth for a youth night on Wednesday nights. And as a school district, we are filling Wednesday night up a lot. And sometimes it can't be avoided, and one good example is middle school football. When else are they going to play when the JV and the varsity play on Thursdays and Fridays, and they all have families that go to one of those, so that makes it tough. So there are going to be a few things that have to be done, but we'd like to have a discussion with Mr. Doolin and our administrators and hopefully maybe Bo about what we can do to let our community have that time with our kids instead of bogging that, having our schedule just completely full. So just want to throw that out, that I'd love to have more discussion, get more input from our administrators, from our athletic director on, is it possible, what can we do to give back to our community some time with our kids outside of our school extracurriculars and academics. So that's just one item that I'd like for us to discuss in the future. Any other
I appreciated having the student body officers here. That was fun.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Have them, good experience for them and just fun for us to hear from them.
Would you like to dip down there to the middle school and hear from student council as well?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that.
Student leadership.
We don't scare them, as long as we don't scare them.
It's good for them. And I think
Okay, thank you.
They do enough fun things that even those younger kids can come and report on a fun activity. That would be,
we're not that scary.
well, most of them. Some of you.
So, in regards to the Wednesday thing and the religious groups, I was approached by a local pastor here, and he was mentioning that for our city council and for our county council, they still do the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation before they begin their meetings of prayer. And I find it interesting that we as a school board, I know it's a little different, but we as a school board don't do that. And he was mentioning, hey, that he would be available, or the local pastoral group, because he's part of a group of 8 churches or something that do this on a rotating basis for the city council and the county council, that they would be willing to come in and do this on all our meetings as well. So maybe we can have a discussion about whether or not we would entertain the idea of a pastor coming in and giving a prayer before we begin our school board meetings.
I think the discussion, if I remember right, there's some state.
Is there state?
You gotta be careful,
There's some
because it's
state things
separation
that-
of church and state, and.
Well, that's
and-
why I thought it was interesting. Sorry not to interrupt.
No,
Go ahead,
no,
finish.
but, and I think it's a discussion that you could have, but, one of my clerk meetings, they did have that on their agenda, and I asked the person about it. I asked the clerk how they did invocation, and it was not scheduled, so to speak. They would have, so now like you wouldn't have invite so-and-so to come for that meeting, but you would start your meeting and then you would pick somebody from the audience and they would just give up and get up and do it. So it wasn't anything that was planned, but it was something like that. So that it was just some words like, say, remembering the 9/11. So it wasn't anything planned, but you've got to be very careful about the separation of church and state.
Which I thought was interesting, that both our city council and our county council still do that before their meetings, and I was wondering how they adjust those.
They probably haven't been
Congress
approached.
starts with a prayer.
Congress starts with a prayer.
What's that?
Congress starts with a prayer.
Yeah, they.
Yeah, I think the separation of church and state has more to do with the children's side of the house.
Right. Well, you're, whatever you would like to do.
I would just caution us not to, if we're gonna allow one pastor to come, then everybody has to have get an opportunity. If that's the road we go down, we just can't say, Pastor A, you're always, then we get in trouble.
Whoever's at our meeting.
Well, that's how we want,
Whoever wants to
yeah.
sit there.
But so just recommendation, we gotta keep it across the board.
It's good discussion. I'm not absolutely not opposed to that. I
got it
would
online.
like to do it the correct way.
Yeah,
Maybe we can
that'd be
reach out
good
to other
to put it
school
down
boards.
as an agenda item.
When I was a senior in high school, I was a senior class, vice president, I think. And this was many years ago, so I'm sure it's changed since then.
Don't age
Years
yourself.
ago.
Not too many
But
years.
that was a time when you couldn't have prayer at graduation, but our class voted to have prayer at graduation, and so it couldn't be on the program. But I gave the opening remarks at the graduation, and
that's
one of my classmates came up with me and offered the prayer after I gave the opening remarks. But it couldn't, there was that legal, that it couldn't be on our program, but we could, if the class agreed to it, it could be there. So I wonder if it's a similar kind of ordeal. I don't know, that was like 30 years ago, so that's true anymore.
We'll reach out, if you check with some other school boards, we'll reach out to ISBA and make sure that.
They're fine with
Okay.
it, however
Okay.
you choose it. You just have to be careful what you say. You can't
Okay.
have a scripted every time.
Copy. Okay.
And you have to allow the weekends, I guess, or somebody. You have to allow for everyone to be able to do it.
That's the only thing, that's the chance you take. People that we may not see eye to eye on their beliefs. If we open it up and they want to come pray, so I don't, that's the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Other than certain, I think there's very few opportunities to have a negative prayer, but it's good discussion.
It is.
Let's continue, because I personally like that idea. Agenda items, we kind of got off. We actually went ahead and discussed it instead of putting the discussion on people. Oh, hey, thanks, kind of, let's do that.
I'll let you do it.
All right, 21st Century Grant.
Great lead-in. Dave and I and Kyla met with
Dana.
Dana.
Castellani.
Yeah, the Girls and Boys Club leader. And right now, we wouldn't mind being a part of it. However, we don't want to take the lead on it. If they took the lead, they just did one with Vail, and did Vail's pass? Vail's did not pass.
I don't think they got word yet, but
No.
they didn't feel good about it. But
Yeah. So, if they would do it, we would come alongside them and try to offer our expertise, our assistance, and then try to ask them. We did talk a little about preschool when we met with her, and that's an option. If they got it passed, they did all they had to do over there in the new building, and if there was room, then we could possibly. But I think we'll keep it there as a holding, with your permission, keep it as a holder, but it's just on the back burner right now.
they're not in their building yet, and they don't expect to be in there
Next
for
fall,
a year or so.
Yeah, a lot of work to be done.
And it will be nice. And
Yeah, when they get
once it
finished.
gets up, they were saying, yes, come on, we'll partner. And they would take the lead. We'd want them to be the lead.
Yeah.
Questions? Continuous improvement plan.
It is, Mr. Chairman, it's that time of year again. We have to have it posted on the website by 1 October. Dave and I are going to sit down tomorrow and hammer it out, and then I'm going to ask the admin to give their input as usual. And then my thought process was, when we meet on September 28th, we'll make that an agenda item, and you can approve it if you'd like. We talk about it, and then we get it posted on the website 1 October, and that'll be a good thing if that's your, how you want it.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Great, you got the right minds working on it. Thank you.
Go ahead.
You just want to lead in?
No.
So I asked Mr. Doolin to put this last item on the agenda, our emergency preparedness plan. I am not very versed in our emergency preparedness plan, and we've got a lot of things going on in the world, in our country, and that I think it's past time, which is a good time now to get well versed what our emergency preparedness plan is, and to know that. And I know there's a couple different opportunities throughout our community to kind of be able to pull from and use. And the discussion has started. I know Mr. Lerner and I have had the discussion. And we can take Hawaii, for instance. We can pick and choose. Don't even have to pick and choose. We can look out there and see a lot of different examples of where an emergency plan either worked really well or it didn't work, or where there's holes. So leading into me wanting to know more about our emergency preparedness plan, and I've already, Mr. Doolin had a group ask me if I would come and take 10 minutes in a Saturday coming up in 2 weeks and explain to them what our school emergency preparedness plan is. So let's have some discussion about that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first thing I'll start out with is where we are with getting some more security and safety measures in our school. Right now, I've given the state everything they need in order to give us that safety and security grant to the tune of about $100,000, which will get us our first iteration of our buzzer systems that are in our doors, as well as a new PA system or some new speakers in the middle school gym, because when you're in the PE in the gym or a ball game, you cannot hear what's going on at all as far as if the office calls over and it's any kind of lockdown procedure or anything, you can't hear it. It's just, it's terrible hearing in there. So that's what's in the works, and we're talking probably a good month out still till I get the approval. But once I get the approval, I've already lined up M2 Automations. He came and spoke to us 3 or 4 months ago. I've been working with him. He's got his stuff ready. As soon as I get the okay and get the money, we're going to start moving ahead on the buzzer systems for our doors in our buildings. Everybody will get one buzzer system. High school may get 2 or 3 because of their mini doors. Yes, sir. As far as the standard response protocol for us, I can tell you what we do on a yearly basis. We do a fire drill every month, every school. We also do hold drills. We do secure drills. We do lockdown drills. We do evacuation drills the best we can, and we do a shelter-in-place drill. Now, all that comes from the I Loved You Guys program that we currently use. And I sent you that. I think I sent you something on Friday, a website and things of that nature. And that's what we currently use. With that said, I reached out to Cody Sampson, and right now Dave and I are trying to set up a round tabletop discussion, which you'll be invited, whoever wants to come, with the local PD, with the sheriffs, with the emergency preparedness folks in Weiser, with the fire department, and with the key players that we can, because we need to tighten up some things. I mean, if you look at where we're supposed to evacuate to, their plan is not real well, their plan is not real well. Ours, or middle school is, because I was there and we walked through it. High school, I don't know if there's a real well. So we got some things to tighten up. Therefore, it's incumbent upon Dave and I to get this round tabletop discussion together sooner than later to start moving ahead on some of these, getting these plans. I think they might have been mothballed around there somewhere, but we need to get them alive again. We need to keep the dust off of them and make sure everybody knows what to do in reference to these 5 things that I just mentioned and anything else that might come our way. So with that said, we do have a plan. We do practice it. I just spoke with Brooke earlier. She's going to do a lockdown drill on the 29th, 29th, this 28th. It's the day after. It's on Wednesday because they had council on Tuesday at 9 in the morning. Cody's going to be there. That'll be our first lockdown at Park that we look and we tweak and obviously do it better next time because there'll be things that he'll find. But we need to keep this fresh in our mind and doing things all the time that relate to this, so the kids don't freak out when, God forbid, something does happen in reference to a tragedy.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. And I would love to have, I should have taken better, well, any notes, which would have been better notes. But just your drills and things, because some of those things as we
do have them posted,
Oh,
and they're in
sweet.
all of our schools. And if you look it up on I Love You Guys, you can get a printout, but we'll be happy to get it.
I did. You have that website.
There is a link in
Yeah.
that email.
I said it. Good job.
that I
Thank you.
sent to Mr. Doolin.
Okay.
So you guys can go to that website and see the signs. And we do have them in English and Spanish.
Fantastic.
And Mr. Chairman, you can ask at the buildings too. We have emergency preparedness packets to touch base on all the things that Mr. Doolin talked about, but then also other tragedies, other things, and how we respond to those. So we have written plans that we can share with you for sure.
Fantastic.
So just reach out to the schools or reach out to me and I can even gather them from the schools and get them to you.
Hey, Mr. Davis.
Gotcha. I'll do that for you.
10 minutes. That's all you get is 10 minutes, right?
That's it.
Thanks.
10 minutes is all I've got. But I'm, like every other time, I can take more than 10 minutes. I appreciate that, and I'm glad that we're doing more things. If I could suggest, Mr. Doolin, because I work for the hospital, but include, if you put in people that you think of a round table, include the emergency preparedness team at the hospital, because they try to do things in the community as well. I think that'd be a valuable asset in that round table. All right, any questions as we go through that? It sounds like we're doing well, but we have a lot to learn.
Did any of the departments there give you a suggested timetable for the round table? Is it like, I know it's hard to get all those players involved, like, if one person's,
they're busy, right? No doubt. Police departments, fire departments, EMTs, hospital staff, administrators, they're all busy. Is there a suggested time frame for this roundtable to take place?
Cody is excited about getting together with all of us and starting it. To be honest with you, I haven't had an opportunity to reach out to the other players yet, but Cody was kind of my point person, and he mentioned a lot of different folks that he's going to invite, so I'm going to use him as our point man to go out and recruit the other folks. We'll do it right here. Maybe we'll have breakfast or something, and then we'll have a working lunch or something, but we'll get it done as soon as possible. Like, September?
9/11.
9/11, yeah, how could I forget? I don't know, I want to say 2 months. I'll say, let's say 2 months as a holder.
Okay. You'd have to go there. Okay, thank you. Thank you for everything that you do. And as a good friend of mine used to say, everything you think you do. I'm getting to it.
Oh, sorry, scared me.
Communications.
Hey! I know you won't want to read, so you
I'm going to look at it and then I have to
It's not very long.
It's not. Thank you, Melanie.
Dear Superintendent Doolin and the Weiser School Board, the Weiser Education Foundation would like to thank you for the memorial in memory of Scott Thompson. An acknowledgement has been sent to Scott's wife, Trish Thompson. The funds donated will be used for students in the Weiser School District. Thank you for your kindness, Cindy Campbell, Weiser Education Foundation Board Member.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could, Kyle had told me earlier, we lost two, and you guys may already know this, we lost two long-term time residents of Weiser, as well as they work for us as well. Pauline George, 16 years with the district, and Sally Baker, 11 years. And like Kyle said, we always give a flower arrangement, a red W, anytime somebody passes, so just for FYI. To end on a good note, once we have the new board set, we're going to ask Dr. Phil Gore from ISBA to come out and give us some training. You might have heard me from some past experiences. He's asked to come in the day or the evening in the last 2 weeks of January. Now we need to get this locked in, because if we want to buy there's some books that comes with it. There's some swag bag, so to speak, or a new welcome board packet that comes with it. So we want to get this locked in as soon as possible, so we can get all that stuff at one time versus buying it later and costing us a lot more. So with that said, last 2 weeks of January, right, Ms. Kyla?
His calendar's free is what they're telling me.
Would that be out a couple hours, or do we know?
Well, I would think it would be at least 2.
Anytime we can get training and we know we're going to have new members with us, so.
The one that he was going to bring out was called, I shared with him, because Justin's not going to be with us, and you were our longest trustee there. So, yeah, now we're at 3 years. So he suggested that we have one on team building and governance, so maybe covering both those. And the State Department, the legislature has given us $6,000 to spend on training. We will use some of that money for attending the ISBA conference, but it doesn't pay for very much of it, or it pays for a little bit of that, like 11% of the whole cost, which is not very much. But it will pay 100% of Dr. Gore coming out here, plus it would pay 100% of any materials that he brings. So if we bring the materials at the time that he comes in, because I should be getting Jonathan a new board member packet, which is kind of spendy, but he said if I include it in your training, then it's covered by that, the State Department money that's coming out. So I thought since we have to buy 3, we might as well plan that.
Remind me, when is that November training? What dates?
You mean the ISBA?
The ISBA, that wasn't November 11th.
That's
was it?
November 15th
No.
through the 17th.
15th and 17th. Okay.
Yeah.
Be after elections.
Yeah, it's after election. Yeah.
So-
And then there's also the board, the Region 8, which is in Weiser on September 21st at 5:30. And that's dinner included, and
You all can go online and register for that.
yeah, please go online and register. They've only got 7 people enrolled right now, but they're pushing to get a few more. I don't,
I
did
am
you,
enrolled.
did you register?
Yeah, except I registered for the wrong
Oh my gosh.
district.
I bet you
Or
registered
wrong-
for Region 3,
wrong-
which
wrong
is CUNA,
regions,
right?
right?
So, see,
But they helped me get it changed.
Okay,
We're
yeah, I was
good.
gonna say, call them. Yeah,
I
we're
am
Region 8 for our
'Cause it's here.
ISBA, so.
Yeah, ISBA reached out to me and said, "Ed, do you realize you're in Weiser?" Like, yeah. Well, you need to register for the right region. Okay, so it's not Region 3, District 3. It's Region 8, District 3.
Yes.
So I'd recommend that we all try to go, it's right in our backyard, and, it's good all there, I'll be there, of course.
And Matt Fry is is your Region 8 president. He's from Fruitland, and he will be here for that, so.
Okay. So, I don't know that I would say, unless we have to have a motion and put it on our next calendar, I think we just need to get our end of January scheduled and let him know that we want him to come.
Yeah.
I don't know that it takes that motion.
Would you want a certain day, though? And, I mean, you were doing
You could just do it after the, that working, if there's a working meeting right then.
yeah, there is that working meeting, and I'm not sure how many,
That would
unless
be
he's
on- that
on
would be on the
unless he's
setup.
on the 5,000s, which that is a
That
lot.
would be on the.
We could just cap it, you could say it's
That working meeting is actually scheduled.
Oh, but it's in the middle of the
If we go,
day.
is on the 18th.
Thursday.
I mean, it is the third full week in January.
We could do the
I don't know if
22nd or
that's-
29th.
We could change that too. It doesn't have to be. We can take a month off of policy and get our training in and learn how
Oh,
to
that's
be
an idea.
better
That's an idea.
board members.
Do you want it in the morning?
So we'll do it Thursday.
I like morning meetings myself. We will have 2 new members that aren't with us tonight, but
I don't know. If I know ahead of time, I can make it happen.
In the
well,
morning?
we're
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 months out.
That's what I said. If I know
This is
ahead of time, I can make it happen.
I don't know how much more we can give you.
No, which is easier for you. The 22nd or the 29th is one of those, a date that usually is.
For evening or day?
Oh, you were thinking morning.
Oh, if it's morning, I prefer like a Thursday.
And would
A
you
Wednesday,
like a
Thursday.
22nd of the month or the 20th?
Oh, if that was
That'd be
weeks,
it.
either week. The 22nd's great, like the 24th or 25th.
Okay, okay,
Wonderful.
okay. Okay, I'll get that.
25th preferably.
Sure, yeah.
25th preferably.
I
Okay,
don't
sounds
wanna be
lovely.
there on my birthday.
okay,
Oh, that's true.
okay.
Might get cake.
I'm gonna get cake anyway.
And he'll eat it too.
I can get 2 nights of cake this way. Okay? Let's try that, kind of
Okay,
25th.
25th, sounds good.
Did we, and I'm sorry, did we say morning?
Yeah, you did say morning.
Yes.
I didn't know what the rest of you said. So there's only one last thing on our agenda.
I'd like to make a
Okay.
motion to
Okay.
adjourn this meeting. Is that what you want?
I guess I'll second it, because the other 3 want to stay here. Then I had the motion to adjourn and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.